Long, long time, old time, white man casting you their praise. Yamin ko long wala pala, oh Steve Blackman. A long, long time.
My immediate family members are of South Sea Islander, Aboriginal and Torres Strait. I grew up in Mackay, at a place called Dumbleton. And Dumbleton had a 100-year lease to the South Sea Islanders at the time. The lease expired in 1976, and the council forced the older people who were left there off the land into Housing Commission homes in Mackay. My wife at the time I'd met the year before was living here at Nambour. So I decided I was coming down closer to where she was. So I moved down here, finished my engineering studies and worked in the Moreton sugar mill for 10 years, employed as a shift electrician. The South Sea Islanders were coerced, blackbirded and brought over here, treated as slaves, got nothing. And then the white Australian policy came in and they kicked them all back out. There was originally about 50,000 Australian South Sea Islanders before deportation. The Australian South Sea Islanders Association here on the Sunshine Coast, we're trying to find out what happened earlier in relation to South Sea Islanders living here and working here. There wasn't much record keeping in those days, particularly for Pacific Island or Kanaka labour. 1863 they were brought into Brisbane Port. 1865 they arrived here on the Sunshine Coast. Majority of the ones that are here came in from other areas, and this is where Lot 71 comes into play. When Lot 71 became a halfway house for people migrating from north to south, or south back up to north, a place where they could call home for a short period of time. Some lived there, and we got specific drawings and sketches like this, plus a 1940 aerial map that says the families that lived there were the Bowders, the Manfrays, the Fussellas, Swalis and Amaraya. When I received this 1940s map of Lot 71, you can actually see the four houses on the map in relation to the river, and whoever done that sketch must have lived there for a long time, because that's pretty perfect. People lived there in these 4 or 5 houses until Tom Manfrey's daughter married, and her name was Frida, settled on the land until 1979. And Tom Manfrey is the grandfather and great-grandfather of the Joneses family, who were the last to live there.
My name is Gary William Graham, and I'm descended from the Bowder family. My grandmother's name was Lillian Mary Bowder. She was Lillian Mary Broad, and she came from Cloncurry, and she was one of the stolen generation. She was one of the dormitory girls from Cherbourg Aboriginal community, and she grew up there before she married grandfather. Grandfather Samson Bowder was born in Yandina, and they came to live down here after they were married. The Bowder family lived here until not long after grandfather Bowder was killed in World War II in the Middle East. The Joneses lived in this house here, and most of the other houses were on the other side of this channel over here. Most of the Australian South Sea Islander people lived on the other side of that channel. All of the houses were very high, on high stilts. From what I remember, from being 5 years old. I only lived here for a short time with Mum and with Nana. My grandmother used to come down here quite a bit. We mainly lived in Nambour and up in Highworth with Nana, because that house was given to her after grandfather was killed in World War II. It stirs up a lot of memory. It is emotional. All good memories. Like being with the Jones boys and rattling up the tram line to the crossing up there and riding the railway carts all the way down here, throwing stones over the bridge into the funnel on the on the railway trains. This is where I learnt to crab using a hook on the banks. You knew what seasons that the crabs were in the mud, changing their shells, all that. So we learned all of those things living on the river. And I absolutely hate fish soup. It was always on the menu.
Being dark growing up in those days was a little bit hard. My name then was Fran Cocho. My mother was a bouder. Her father was brought over from the Solomon Islands to work in the cane fields. Uncle Sam was her brother. We never had cars or anything. It was a neighbour. He was great. He used to have a big truck and we'd pour pile on the back and put all our rubbish on there and bring it down and carry it down over the hill and put it on the railway trucks and just push it, cane trucks, and just push it down. I came down when I was only a small child. At the time there was only the three of us and Mum and Dad. We used to stay in the houses over there. I always thought it was a holiday house. We came down quite often.
Yeah.
And we used to bend up little pins and go fishing, put it on a old stick we'd find and throw it out and catch fish. We used to swim out and just sit there and eat oysters. Then later on I used to come down and go fishing with Fred, Auntie Frida. We used to row across there and catch all our prawns and that around the mangoes. And Fred and I used to go fishing and he showed me how to catch gar, trailing the line at the back of the boat.
Yeah, you had such a hard life, eating oysters and damper. That's just such a hard life. People think they have it so good.
Well,
now.
you try catching the whiting, that's hard too.
My name's Michael Fiquandi, President of DASSI, which is the Descendants of Australian South Sea Islanders. The land that we stand upon is the Cubby Cubby people, it's their land. The South Sea Island people were associated with them on this land back in the day. It has enormous cultural meaning to the South Sea Island people, especially here. I used to come over here when the Joneses used to live here and spend a bit of time here mucking around as you do in those days and that age. It's a good feeling here, the connection to the land of the forefathers and mothers that went through the hardship back in the day.
I started to learn who I am, what I'm here for. When it's been taken away from you, it's really hard to get back. So people don't ever lose it, don't ever let anyone take it away from you. Coming here and seeing this is sort of helped to relive those days.
My sister's ashes we threw in the middle there when she died, and my father, my husband and the kids' fathers, we sprinkled his ashes just on the banks there. I always said to my sisters and my kids that when I go, I want my ashes sprinkled down here because this is the best time that I remember of my childhood.
At the moment, the only way you can get here is by boat. What we intend to do is have a pontoon boardwalk. Pontoon will sit out in this area here with a boardwalk that comes onto the land here to have access for everybody, for gathering people together, especially the elderly, who have memories of this place who actually lived here. It's quite significant that we do hold on to this land for the spiritual and cultural connection that we have.
We hope that to develop on there a cultural village. The more we get understandings of each other, the way we feel, the better we're going to get on together. It's like reconciliation.